Hey, Patreon members, let me get it myself. There you go. Welcome, Patreon members. You're not Patreon members. You're the regular crew. What am I thinking? I haven't done this in a month. It's getting to me. I've got a joke for this after I do the intros of the people. Let's introduce who someone is very young. It's Sarah. What's going on, Sarah?
Hey, how's it going, Brad?
I'm losing my mind. Otherwise, pretty good.
Glad to be on summer
First
break.
off, I love the McFarlane Spider-Man 13 shirt.
Thank you.
The black suit, very nice. And Mom is watching, so hi, Sarah's mom. What's going on? All right. We also have Christina. What's going on, Christina?
Oh, not much. It's just hot.
It is hot. It is hot. Speaking of someone who's not, JR. How's that for an intro, my man?
I'm really not sure how to respond to that because it's just so bland. I mean, it's not even worth a comeback, you know.
Oh,
But oh well. Hey, I got. Is Mr. Comics? Is it true you're on deployment in Korea? I was about to say.
yeah,
really?
Mr. Comics is in chat. He's watching us at 9 a.m. in Korea. He joined the military, so thank him for his service.
Wow.
He's often
a salute.
He's often seen in the letter pages of ASM too, so I think that's kind of cool. So
Yeah.
thank you, man.
So anyway, Mr. Comics, all respect to you.
No doubt. A couple things I want to do before we get to the ASM show. Sarah and the rest will appreciate this. I got a new phone case. There you go.
Oh, that's
like that.
cool.
Yeah.
Is it cool? And JR, I have had these for about a year, but I just noticed them on my desk, and I haven't really had them on the show. So are you ready for this in case things get rough? There you go. JR, what do you think? I'm nearsighted. I can see far away, but nearsighted. What do you think, JR?
I don't
Clark
know
Kent?
I don't know what has more glare, the lenses or your forehead.
Oh, here, let me look at that insult. It's so blah. It's so blah. Anyway, I've been using these more and more since I hit 50, JR. You can attest to this. What do you think?
Well, I was about to say, yeah, you got a lot more to look forward to as the 50s progress. Trust me.
You know, JR, you look better without them. No, just kidding.
That's what my wife says. So you're not saying anything new. By the way, have you had your first colonoscopy yet?
No, not yet. That's coming.
right.
By the way, Garrett in the Frozen says, about time Brad can finally read the comments correctly. I think that's really funny.
Brad, what's your alter ego name? When you have the glasses on, what's your name then?
B Rad. B Rad.
Okay.
Oh, that's my rap name. Sorry. It's B Thugless. B Thugless is my gangster name. B Rad is my rapper name. Doug Bradless. There you go. Doug Bradley. There you go. I have two first names. I was ready for you, Sarah. All right. Last but not least, just in the nick of time, only 4 minutes late, we have Mike McNulty. What's going on, Mike?
Hi there. Yeah, I just clicked on the wrong
Microphone's rough.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on.
It wouldn't be Mike without a microphone setting.
Okay, wait a minute, 1 second. All right.
Yep.
You hear me now?
We're getting there. Yeah, that's
Okay.
better. That's better. There you are. Welcome, Mike. What's going on, sir?
All right. Hey, okay. I clicked on the wrong StreamYard link, so that's one of the reasons why I'm late.
You were in the Patreon link. I labeled them, I thought, for you.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, where am I supposed to be? Oh, wait.
Well, we just you should use these, which I just debuted on the show. What do you? Do you have glasses, Mike?
Oh, those look nice.
Oh, thank you.
No, not
Thank
yet.
you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
How old are you,
Yeah.
Mike?
No, I just I'm gonna be. Do I really want to admit my age? You want to guys to take a guess?
I would say 38.
Keep going.
48.
You're very close. You're
58.
very close, Brad. No, I'm not that old. I'm not JR level. I'm actually going to be your age, Brad, in a few months.
Oh wow, 50. Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
As John McClane says, welcome to the party, pal.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. I
Yippee-ki-yay.
kept myself. Yeah, basically, the office. Also, anytime anyone new hires around the office, they always got my boss always plays the same games. Like, hey, guess how old this guy is? I'm like, all right.
Yeah. You're the what's Ant-Man's name? The actor.
Paul Rudd.
All
Yeah,
right.
You're the Paul Rudd of the Crawlspace. All right.
pretty much at this point. Yeah, that's probably be an apt description at this point. All right.
So we have a trifecta of things. We have the new phone case. We got the glasses, and I also want to go over one more thing before we get to the ASM reviews. Analytics say that most of you, when you listen to the audio version, you guys are listening on Apple Podcasts. So back when this show started in the late 70s, JR remembers 2006, same thing. If you remember, we used to do reviews. Is it scrolling? Yeah, it's scrolling. By the way, they finally got my picture up there, which is kind of cool. But we used to do reviews. We've only had one review in 2025, and that's from C-Rob 2099. It says, mostly a good show. Mostly a good show. And then we haven't had a review since 2023. So let me see if I can expand these. I gotta make the
Good
window bigger
grief.
before I do that. I know. Let's see here. Well, how do I want to expand? Here, if I do that.
I was about to say that backhanded.
Oh, there it goes.
Smarts.
Mostly a good show. Nice spider dude. I can't believe you're a masterpiece, bro. Was the last one in 2023 from Coffee OUO. 5 out of 5. Okay. I don't know what that means, but all right. Then back in 2022, we had Steve K, 1988, the best. He was listening to Tina Turner's song. I've been listening to the pod since 06, the best and most entertaining Spider-Man podcast.
Yeah.
We
Well,
lost
everybody,
him.
we lost Brad. So, all right, the inmates are running the insane. These are my
We
glasses.
lost the hose. We lost the hose.
Yeah, these are my glasses.
Yep,
Okay.
that's right.
I've had them for less than a year. All right.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, and I've got my Bring On the Bad Guys variant for Amazing Spider-Man number 6.
Oh, nice.
So let's see here. What else?
Wait, can I see that again, JR?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got to hold up a little bit longer.
Oh,
than
that's
that.
cool.
Yeah. Oh, that was
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
not too
like
bad.
it.
Not too bad. Not too
Is
bad.
that John Romita Jr.? Is that a John Romita Jr. cover?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it says Paulo or something. Paulo S.
Oh, okay. All right. It's just
I'm
like
assuming that's
from
not the
what
drug kingpin.
No. Okay. No, I think it was. I think I'm trying to remember which one what else that guy did. In terms of stuff that he also did. I can't, but it's kind of escaping me at the moment. So let's see. So interesting that we're basically now live and Brad's not here. So that way it says so. Well, I guess in terms of
Now that's hysterical.
here he comes back.
I said, please like the show, and then I leave the damn show. Is what I said.
It's all, yeah.
Anyway, Apple Podcasts, if you'd like to leave us a review, I will read it on the next episode. And I will promise to be here when I do that. Okay. All right. Let's see. Who's got this one? Is it Sarah? I think.
Yeah, I've got it.
Sarah, you're leading us off with ASM 969. Let me get the image up here.
All right.
Shut up, Siri.
Oh, there he
he
goes
left
again.
again. And he left again.
See, he was talking crap to AI, and then his computer or whatever was like, "Nope, goodbye."
So that means we have an AI running this show now.
Am I not plagued by tech problems? What in the actual hell? Siri's talking to me. All right, Sarah, take over before this whole damn thing falls apart.
All right, I got you.
Lord.
So this is Amazing Spider-Man 969 by writer Joe Kelly, artist Pepe Larraz, color artist Marte Gracia, and letterer Joe Carmona. So the book opens as Peter is on a call with Brian and another scientist. And did we ever get her name?
Yeah, it's a hyphenated
Because I don't remember
name.
it.
it's a hyphenated name, and I can't remember. It's basically it's basically the person who's running this division of Rand Enterprises. It's basically Peter's boss.
Here it is.
Now.
Yeah.
Marissa Osami Milton.
Yeah. OM.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we can call it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Or mom.
All right, cool.
Actually, now that I can.
I was like,
Yeah, her
I've
abbreviation
seen
is
her.
Her
mom.
initials are mom.
I don't know,
MOM.
maybe,
I was
maybe
like,
maybe she's related to the Spot. You know, isn't his name
Oh,
No, it's
got you.
Osami. It's Osmami, and but yeah, we just call her mom. Basically, is what
Yeah.
essentially that's her.
Hey,
initials.
Mike, never again on the show say the word mommy. Okay, go on.
Okay. All right. You got it. I'm
Oh
not
my
going to
God.
say that.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate you.
On a rock night. Of course. Yeah.
So Peter is on the phone with Brian and mom, apparently, who has and he's discovered what Peter was drugged with a couple of issues ago. Brian says he's heading to the roof where the feds are sending a chopper to get them. But as Peter tries to tell him not to go to the roof, the line goes dead and we see fire and destruction on the roof. We cut to the hobgoblin, who's ready to stop Brian and mom and their knowledge of the drugs. I'm not going to try to pronounce her name. That's not happening.
Mom is so much easier.
Yes. But we see that they haven't made it to the roof yet. So that's good news. Hobgoblin asks who else knows about the compound in the Queen's Cola. And they unfortunately admit that all the information is with them. As Hobgoblin moves to kill them, in comes Spider-Man to save the day. He is still detoxing from the drugs, but his mind is clear. And Spider-Man and Hobgoblin begin to fight, and Brian calls for an evacuation of the building due to Hobgoblin. And that's a cool panel back there.
Oh, yeah,
That
the
last
double
one.
page spread. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
really cool. I like that. This artist, beautiful stuff.
Yes. So Hobgoblin taunts Spider-Man, telling him that because he's asked Brian to look into the Queen's Cola, their death will be Spider-Man's fault. So funny how he's playing that against Spider-Man. Spider-Man talks through Hobgoblin's plan, saying that making people miserable with the anxiety in a can cannot be his only move. Spider-Man discusses a phase 2 where Hobgoblin would sell an already made cure to people, and Hobgoblin tells Spider-Man that he's not as stupid as he looks. And there's a really funny Sir Clown joke in there. And Hobgoblin is not going to fall for it and does not deny or confirm any of Spider-Man's suspicions. And with one last attack, he runs away to go get Brian and the proof of Hobgoblin's plan. We hear from Brian that there is no backup of the data that they have on Hobgoblin, and that they're committing to die trying to get this information to the feds. Spider-Man catches up as Hobgoblin tries to take out Brian and the other scientist. As Spider-Man fights the Hobgoblin, we see flashbacks to Peter and Brian in their childhood defending each other and having each other's backs. Hobgoblin attacks the mom and Brian, and Spider-Man saves her. We see Brian, who's grabbed a mushroom from another lab somewhere, and he throws it at the Hobgoblin in a really cool panel. Yeah, right there. And
the kick one?
Mhm.
the kick to the face. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I liked it so much I made that the thumbnail.
Yeah, it's a really good panel. Hobgoblin starts hallucinating from whatever was in the mushroom, and Spider-Man gets a few good punches in on the Hobgoblin before Hobgoblin runs away in terror. We cut to Spider-Man on the phone with Norman Osborn. He's pretty much summarizing everything that happened with Hobgoblin's plan and everything that happened that day. Norman feels that the Hobgoblin is his problem to deal with, since he would never have been a thing without Norman's tech. Once off the phone, Peter goes into the other room to speak with Aunt May. Aunt May tells Peter that she feels like he is pushing her away, and in a really touching moment, Peter apologizes and tells Aunt May that she's one hell of a mom. To be continued.
That's the real mom right there. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there anything in the letter pages, Sarah? Anybody we recognize?
Not that I saw.
I didn't see anybody either months of this. Okay. Let's go around the horn for grades. Sarah, what is your grade?
I gave it an A. I really enjoyed the issue.
Okay, Christina, your grade.
I gave it a B.
Okay. Mike, your grade.
B+.
Okay. JR?
I wanted to give it a B, but I'm going to give it a C, and I'll explain later.
Okay.
I'll give it a B, almost a B-. from me. Chat, if you want to go off on grades, I will read them in just a little bit after Sarah tells me about her pros. What are your pros?
Absolutely. I really liked the flashbacks of Peter and Brian during the Hobgoblin fight. Kind of reinforces their relationship. We learn a little bit more about them. And also, it's cool how it ties together them helping each other out, especially since Brian comes out with the mushroom and drugs Hobgoblin. So I really liked those. I like the art, obviously. And
real
then
quick, back to the flashbacks. That's been a controversy over the last several months. I like them. I think Peter Parker's in character, even if we've not seen this side of him before. What's your opinion on it? Do you think he would ever be this mean to Aunt May and Uncle Ben?
You know, I think that
and you deal with kids too. You're a teacher, so you know the middle school age a little bit more than others.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't behave like yourself, right? You're growing into being your own person. I think that it's realistic. I know a lot of people are saying, well, how could Peter Parker go from this in middle school to that shy wallflower in high school? But I mean, if you think about it, he went through a lot as a kid. You know, his parents died. He's living with his aunt and uncle. It's totally reasonable for him to be acting out.
Mm-hmm. And if I like to make it, and if I can make a point about the flashback thing about the perception of Peter Parker being the shy wallflower, if you actually read those Ditko stories, he's not a shy wallflower. He's a nerd, yes, but he's also a little bit of a jerk to a lot. Yeah, so he's got a little bit of an edge to him. So
where was he a jerk? What's an example?
Well, think about this. So in the very Amazing Fantasy 15, he's like, he's trying, he's kind of like, he's kind of has that mindset of basically like thinking like, oh, because people weren't actually nice to me, then I don't care about them. My aunt and uncle are the only people that matter, right? So what I think Joe Kelly is trying to do here with these flashbacks, I mean, granted, it's a lot like the Andrew Garfield Peter Parker in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. There's a lot of similarities there, but a lot of the things what he was trying to do with these, and I get why it seems there's a kind of a disconnect between where Peter's like as a kid and where he is as Spider-Man. But there is a reason for why these flashbacks. One is to show, like what Sarah was saying, is to show that, yeah, he's still kind of reminded of the friendship between, well, granted, we've never seen this Brian before, but he's a reminder of their friendship. But it's also kind of like to remind, it's kind of used as a reminder that Peter, the reason why he was so angry is because he was an orphan. And he's afraid to, and of course, he is afraid to lose his since he lost his parents, he's afraid to lose anybody else. And that's why he's pushing everybody away until he has that conversation with Aunt May in the last issue, right? The irony, of course, in that conversation is as being Spider-Man, he continues to lose people to those he's close to, which is why he's subconsciously pushing people, keeping people at a distance. As that's what Joe Kelly's kind of alluding to here is that the reason.
The most obvious jerk move of Peter Parker is "It's not my problem" when the burglar runs by.
Exactly.
I mean, that's an obvious jerk move. Yeah.
Right. And what Joe Kelly's kind of doing is a lot of what through these flashbacks is a lot of what Peter is going through is like in terms of his Parker, the Parker Luck stuff. A lot of it is subconsciously self-inflicted is what he's trying to get across is the idea that he keeps putting people at a distance, like and I guess maybe that's the real reason why he's not telling Aunt May about he's Spider-Man, because if he does, then he's afraid he'll going to lose her again and all this other stuff. But being that it's kind of trying to kind of showing that it's kind of Kelly's using the flashbacks as a reminder for Peter to to try to open himself up again kind of thing. So it's there. And I guess there's precedence for him. I mean, again, I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind the flashbacks because I kind of understand what he was doing with them, but I can understand why people were a little bit off-put by him because it says, hey, this Peter Parker doesn't seem like, the one I know kind of thing, but there's a link you can make to it. So if
well, and I would say, I think if they feel that way, I would suggest that they reread Ditko's run.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What else did you like, Sarah?
I said I really like the art.
I mean, look at this. It's just beautiful. I mean, loving this art.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Really good. I liked that Brian helped out Peter with the mushroom. But that also goes into something I don't like, which I'll save for later.
Okay.
But that's what I got for now.
So Sarah likes shrooms. All right. What else we got for pros? What do we got?
I mean, like Sarah said, the art, Pepe Larraz is just he's carrying this entire. He was carrying all 5 of these issues. I think he's definitely, because that he was, in terms of art, he was definitely I think he was more of a selling point on this relaunch than Joe Kelly was, because like you said, I mean, everything about this is like, it's showing that like almost every single panel, you can see he's putting a lot of effort into it. Now, granted, sometimes the faces can look a little weird, but there is but he's knowing how to use exaggerate, like he's knowing like where to keep your attention focused on. So he, and also like with the terms of like lighting and shading and everything like this. So it stands out really strong, and it's not like, and it looks very detailed. It looks very vivid, and it's very dynamic. And I mean, it's just almost everything about it. You can't really, it really stands out in terms of like especially when you look at, granted with Hobgoblin looking like we got in the, borrowing the wings there with Phil Yerkstein, but it really looks really dynamic.
I like the updated Hobgoblin look. I mean, you got to separate him from Norman a little bit.
I think it looks like Kindred.
Don't insult Hobgoblin.
I know. It just reminds me of Kindred a lot.
I mean, he's borrowing a lot from Phil when Phil Yerk wore the suit, including the flaming sword, because that's what kind of Kingsley does. I mean, it kind of Kingsley does. He just kind of incorporates other people's stuff and turns it into his own, because that was his whole.
He's a thief. He steals things. Steals ideas. Steals Norman's stuff. Steals everybody's stuff. He's a thief. I agree.
Oh, you know what else I just thought of?
What's that?
The end with Peter and Aunt May. That was a lovely scene.
The
only thing that could be added on that is if Aunt May was like, "Yep, I know you're Spider-Man."
Yes. Yes.
Well, I want to believe. I mean, come on. It's right there.
Uncle Ben's army jacket.
Uncle Ben is a big X-Files fan. No, Peter probably put that on. There you go. Who did we not hear from for pros? I don't think JR said anything positive in the last 20 years.
Well, go back a little further than that. No, actually, Mike everybody said something about the art, and I don't want to repeat it. Mike articulated actually fairly well, but I just really like his Hobgoblin. I mean, and the 2-page spread where Spider-Man breaks, through the window. I mean, I like the action. I mean, it looks like Spider-Man to the rescue. And there's a lot of action, but you can tell what's going on. Sometimes artists, they throw so much in, and it's like you can't tell what's going on. And it's like, but there's no such problem here. I would really be interested in seeing his take on the Green Goblin and see how it looked. Like I said, I like the distinctive look he gives the Hobgoblin. And I'm glad somebody said about the faces being wonky, because I don't like the way he draws people. Again, it's art is everybody's got their own opinion of art, but to me, people should look nice and clean cut, not exaggerated or weird, or and every once in a while somebody's got a really weird looking face, like like Peter, the first issue, when he looked like the Impossible Man's white trash brother.
Yep.
And
then
like Aunt May, when one panel she looks fine, and then the next panel it looks like she needs to go to the dentist, or her teeth are all jagged or whatever, and it's like,
what? Aunt May's teeth are jagged? Hold on.
I think it's just the way it looks like. Well, she does have a very raisin face. Like if you look at
raisin face.
Yeah.
Not this issue, Brad, but no, the prior issue,
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
He's gotten Peter's ears better. They're not Spock.
Yeah, he doesn't look like Spock. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think his Peter Parker's
Right.
looking better. Well, maybe not that one.
Yeah.
But
I
right
mean,
here,
yeah,
that's Peter Parker right there.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
but again, I think part of the using the exaggerated faces. Granted, it's not like Humberto Ramos levels of exaggeration where everyone looks like they're Gumby or Silly Putty or something where everyone stretches out a lot. But he's using because there are times where the facial expressions do look natural, and there's other times where they look kind of like hyper exaggerated to try to emphasize, put greater emphasis on the emotion. So that's being conveyed. So it's definitely an artistic choice that Larraz is doing. And I can kind of see why it may be a little weird considering how hyper realistic some portions of the book look. So, I mean, but I think, it's definitely there's definitely a method behind it. Why he does that.
All right. Time for Sarah's cons. What did you not like? You said that you're saving one.
Yes, the biggest thing I didn't like is that Spider-Man just let Hobgoblin get away. Like,
he was on his ass. I mean,
yeah, I know. So why not capture him and call it a day? You know what I mean? Isn't it more dangerous to let him run on the loose, especially under the influence of whatever? Okay, bye. Especially
running away.
Yeah, right. Especially under the influence of whatever was in that mushroom. Like, I just thought it was kind of careless on his part.
Oh,
Welcome back.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. I don't know what's up with StreamYard tonight. Okay. Other cons for the rest of you. JR, what are you holding back?
A whole lot of vim and invective or whatever, but
about the issue.
Holding back a whole lot of anger, Brad.
I know it. Virtual hug.
And I was thinking about what everybody has been saying about how Peter was acting out, and we had my perspective in the prior show. I mean, I obviously come from a different perspective, and from, like I said, somebody who didn't dare defy his father. I mean, not even my brother, the troublemaker, that he was sometimes. I remember once watching my dad just walk in with his hands on his, because my brother had done something really stupid, and he was an older teenager. He wasn't a boy. He was, and Dad just waved his fist at him and said he was tired of him screwing up, and my brother just cowered. Which I don't want to say that I really enjoyed that moment, but and so this is another perspective I have. I suppose that I just think he treats Aunt May horribly. I mean, to be honest, if my mother, if my behavior was causing her to have such self-doubt about whether I loved her or not, I mean, I just find that inexcusable. I couldn't do it. I couldn't live with it. And, May's not really disciplining Peter here, but sometimes she has. And I remember the last time that my mother told me to grow up, for example, which was several years ago, but I was still older than I should have been when she said it. And I was destroyed. It absolutely destroyed me. I just can't see. I don't think I think he treats his mother appallingly, frankly. And I think by not being honest with her, by making her doubt herself after all she has given him and all she has sacrificed for him, and really all he's done to her. I mean, he is ultimately responsible for Uncle Ben's death. I mean, indirectly, but we all know the story. And, the way not J. Michael Straczynski, but when Marv Wolfman retold the story, Marv Wolfman told the story, I think, better than any other writer, because he, made
in
it
ASM 200.
Yes, because, like, for example, J. Michael Straczynski made it where, like, Uncle Ben just kind of wandered off and got shot. Marv Wolfman's story, it was a home invasion. And Ben was shot dead right in front of May, which if you've been with somebody 40 or 50 years and that happens, May would have that would be May would live with that forever. And so I don't like the way it's ringing false to me. And I think Peter needs to man up. I mean, I really did. I think he's acting like a boy. I mean, I know it's hard to say when he's Spider-Man, he gets off his ass and he's always hurt and sick or whatever, and he does the right thing and he comes to the rescue. But as Peter Parker, he treats people like shit, and he's too old. Yeah, but this is why Marvel wants him to be 15 again, because they want to write him this way. This is the way they want to write him. You know, and the thing is, he's a 30-year-old man, at least with at least probably 15 years. He would have aged quite a bit mentally and psychologically. He wouldn't be acting this way.
I think what doesn't ring true is because we've seen the version where he told Aunt May who he is and what the potential of that story. Right. When we go back, these longtime readers, like all of us, say it's a regression. Why is he regressing? We've seen him grow up. We've seen him get married. We've seen him be responsible. And he regressed. He regresses. He defaults back to his 15-year-old default in a 25-year-old body. Longtime readers have a hard problem with that.
And I think it's also interesting you're bringing that up. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I like Spider-Man. You know, I don't want Spider-Man to quote unquote age. You know, I don't want him to be a 50-year-old man or, you know, anything like that, you know, although I'd relate to him better. But I want him to be the sum of his experiences. And the way he's written by some of these, he is not the sum of his experiences.
Go ahead, Mike.
It's funny because I was going to say, because since this was written by Joe Kelly was one time quoted in, like, I guess one of those comic book website interview things, that the way he envisions writing Spider-Man is that he still writes him like as if he were still mentally 15. I think or something to that effect, that he mentioned that in one of those interviews. But because when he was doing Spider-Man Deadpool at the time, like, he kind of envisions that his Spider-Man is basically still has that mentality, even though, yes, he is like late 20s at this point, realistic. I mean, ideally. And I think that's one of the cons here, is because, again, I think he writes Spider-Man very well, but whenever he gets to Peter Parker, it's like, yeah, he kind of does a lot of missteps with how he portrays him. I could also say that I'm not really impressed with Brian as a character. He just seems kind of two-dimensional, or maybe I'm just saying that because I assume that he may have been the one behind this, the hallucinogenic thing, especially with the mushroom stuff. But I guess
anytime we introduce a long lost friend, he's 9 times out of 10 an enemy. So our spider senses are up that he's going to become Mushroom Man or something, whatever he is.
I mean, in a way, I guess you could say it's a good thing that at least Kelly kind of subverted the expectations and making this whole thing about it's about, oh no, it's actually Coke. It's actually like, it's actually this Coke product that causes you anxiety and all this stuff. But okay. But I think in terms of, like, to me, it just seems like the addition of Brian in the series. I mean, he's just kind of like, he doesn't really feel, there's not a whole lot of depth to him. And in a way, you almost kind of feel like maybe the only reason he had him in there is because Peter's friends circle is kind of drastically diminished at this point, because you've got Flash is gone, Flash is doing his own thing, Harry's dead.
Also, writers like to have their own people that they make.
Oh yeah.
I mean, will we ever see him again? Probably not after Kelly leaves. The odds are not good. So
no.
Hey, let's get Christina's cons, and we'll get the chat comments. Christina, what didn't you like that's not been said?
Did we notice that Itsy Bitsy wasn't in this issue?
Yeah.
Where'd she go?
That's what I said. And then that's what I said. And then I just think that they kind of tied it in like a nice bow at the end. It's like the stuff with the Coke, and then I think it's hilarious that he defeated Hobgoblin with a mushroom, a drunk mushroom. But
what is he, Mario? What?
Yeah, right.
It's a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Doesn't he even make, if I remember correctly, doesn't he even make a Mario joke?
Yeah, like in issue 2, I think he makes something, and he makes more mushroom joke. He makes another mushroom joke in the next issue too. So that's his thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do anything else, Christina?
Nope. Good.
Okay. We got Carrick 2001 says, "Hey everyone, I don't really make these live. but I'm happy I was able to make this one. So welcome. I'm glad you're watching us live. Gary says, good to see Sarah. We haven't seen Sarah since the late 80s. So yeah, good to have her back. Sarah's mom says JR is a legend. I don't know what you're sending some money to Chicago or something.
Maybe she's saying I'm a legend in my own mind, kind of
Yes.
like my daughter tells me. But anyway.
We have Ryan Reed watching, eating a couple pizzas. We got Vinkman in the house. Mr. Comic says he's been deployed for a month there. So awesome. About time Brad will finally be able to read the comments correctly. Yes, I already said that one. My nickname is not BO, it's BD. Hey, crawlers of the website known as the Crawlspace, I'm hoping these reviews are grand, amazingly awesome, says Matt. We have A's and B's and a C out of JR. So let's see. Oh no, Brad's gone. Someone missed me. Thank you. No, there's not going to be a revolution. JR will not lead the boat. I made it back in. Gary says, JR, I met Lee Weeks at the Heroes Con last week, and he told him about the time he emailed you thanking you for praise on Death and Destiny. He said he remembered you. JR, Lee Weeks remembers you. Awesome.
I don't see how. I really don't, but
You're unforgettable.
I am flattered. Well, I did. I made Death and Destiny one of my stories of the year, and I guess but it was a good story,
It was very good.
Was. And plus
20 years ago, but it was good. Yeah.
Plus he
JR, are you reading Ultimate Spider-Man? Says Jeffrey Castro.
I quit with issue 12. Tired of things not happening. Tired of torture porn. Tired of it's like I've been burn stealing some issues, and it's just talk. And to be honest, I'm getting I'm just like, for example, I didn't get this giant size Spider-Man #1 either. I just I'm tired of just the whole extended title thing, and I'm stuck.
Just amazing.
I'm sticking with amazing, and that's it. And be honest, if Ultimate had a little bit more action, but it's just not going anywhere.
Ultimate's a slow burn. I mean, I can understand why, because there are certain people appreciate that, because I guess it's more about the world building and the slow burn development of it than, but it's definitely not fast paced. But that is a drawback.
Matt says, I hope we can have growth in these issues before they rebooted yet again. I'm sure you've all heard most Marvel titles are only going to be 10 issues long in the foreseeable future. That's not for Amazing Spider-Man, though. I mean, we're going to go till at least 24 issues with the writer. 2 years, I imagine.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Wait a minute. No, that's 48 issues because 24 is twice a month. Okay, yeah.
Well, we're getting close. No, we're getting pretty close to it, because right now, we're getting close to issue 975 pretty soon, and that's going to be like what after that. So you got technically with 20, so 24 more. So okay.
Do we think Kelly's on till 1,000? I think we're going to get another writer between that.
I think so.
Oh, really? Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because he's doing a kind of he's doing an arc thing, at least leading up to that. So I mean, granted, you had that precedent where Nick Spencer was immediately left, and they still were working with his stories and having Christos Gage as a fill-in script writer. But even so, I think they've planned this out at least up to that point. So
okay. Mr. Comics gave that issue an A. Carrick says, my grade's an A. I love this issue, and overall, I like the first art. I'm sorry, an A+ on that one. I agree with Sarah. Trayvon says, what's up, Trayvon? Sarah, I give this issue an A as well. Ryan Reed gave it a B. Jeff Cole gave it a B+. Matt gave it a C-. Let's see. We got Diabetic Superman in the house.
Hey,
transition for Larraz to JR is jarring.
We'll get into that, yeah.
B+ says SoFlo. Aunt May's a California raisin. Con, the arc is over. Trayvon gave it a D. Yeah. Hey, Trayvon, you're liking him better. It's usually an F. It's Mikey.
It's usually an F.
There
he goes.
There he goes
again. There he goes again.
See, every time he talks smack, he disappears.
I know. It's like the AI.
Jeez.
The StreamYard AI is
God, it's kicking me out every 15 minutes. All right. I can't wait for Spider-Man to be split into two and one fight in space and the other becoming unfriendly. That doesn't scream out for ideas. Yeah,
To be
that's
fair-
press release came out. Spider-Man is going to be split in half so he can do twice as much amazing work. I think that's kind of lame.
Well, here's the thing. Are we sure he's actually going to be literally split in half, or are we sure one of them? We're sure like Ben Reilly is going to take over him while Spidey's off in space.
Who knows? Spider-Man
yeah.
in space does not work.
Wait, what the hell are you guys talking about?
Oh, you didn't hear this, did you? Okay,
Yeah,
so for
no.
issue 975, Marvel is advertising that Spider-Man will be split in two. One Spider-Man who will be in a snazzy new costume will be lost in space, along with, and he gets a sidekick called Symbi, which looks like a floating symbiote fish thinking thing. The other
You're
Spider-Man,
selling it
the
great,
other
Mike. It sounds
Spider-Man-
amazing.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. The other Spider-Man is still back in it. It will be stuck on Earth in his original costume, but of course he'll be dark and menacing and very vicious, kind of like the Superior Spider-Man in a way. And
Or that
this is
Goblin Spider-Man.
Yeah, and so essentially, so even though it's still re-released twice a month, every other issue will be switching between the two different Spider-Man. We'll switch between one Spider-Man in space and the other Spider-Man Earth.
I think.
And
Who wants to
presumably
review
it's gonna
the
issue
space
1000,
Spider-Man
I
book?
think. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
But when he comes back,
see?
I'll tell him I will take that. I will take that. Spider-Man in space. We'll see what a disaster that's going to be.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like what? Yeah. Okay.
All right.
It's-
Before we go to the next issue, I want to give a shout out to JD for the super chat. We haven't had a super chat in months, so JD, you're awesome.
And he
And he
no.
says something
Gone.
nice and he was kicked out.
Oh,
man.
I
no.
know, man. Okay. Okay. Anyway, to continue, it says a fellow Spider-Man years ago have a stack of every issue going back to the start of Nick Spencer. As a classic Spidey fan, totally in the dark. Should I actually read the stack? Well, it depends on how big your stack is. So it's a bit thing. So because there's a lot. I mean, I would say the Nick Spencer run is probably going to be a nice little thing. Once you hit that Zeb Wells run, ooh, yeah, you're going to be in for a hard time. That's for sure. Probably not so much when you go to Spider-Man Beyond, because that's kind of okay. But yeah, once Zeb takes over, that's where the real problems begin. And you're going to see the glory that is, you're going to see, and of course you'll experience the glory that is Paul. Which is that's gonna be really hard.
The 8 Deaths of Spider-Man is the absolute low point in my opinion. But
I mean,
I like
it had other low points
stuff.
besides that. Besides like Death of
Yeah,
Spider-Man,
but
right?
that's the lowest of the lows. I've never given that so many Fs and since the last time I was in traffic.
But like Spider-Man Beyond or whatever, I mean, it wasn't even Spider-Man; it was Ben Riley.
Ben Riley, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
was, yeah.
Peter was just laying in the hospital with radiation poisoning the whole time, I think. So,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. I mean, it's not even Spider-Man. So,
Right.
Yeah. Good grief! The super chats are coming in from that grumpy old guy, aka Walter. This is for Brad to get a green screen mask and a cosplay as me. Yeah, I might have to return your money there, Walter. I'm not gonna. He was on a green screen on Zach's show, wearing a Spider-Man mask and a hole in it, and there was a cigarette, and the green screen had. It was a thing. It was a thing.
great.
I have to.
It was
see,
a
I
thing,
know,
so
see
yeah.
that, to see what
But Walter, thank you for the super chat. Evidently, I'm going to upgrade my internet or StreamYard or something with that. So thank you, buddy. We need to get on to the other episode, the other issue before we proceed to all these reading all these comments. Let's see. I've got JR on this one. We've got issue number 970 with John Romita Jr. is back on the new volume. So take me through this, JR.
well, as I was explaining to everybody else during one of your sabbaticals, I got I got the Bring On the Bad Guys variant cover. So with the green
Who
goblin.
drew that?
Some guy called Paulo. I don't know.
Paul drew that.
Oh.
You mean Mr. Man Bun? I'm just kidding. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
We got the same writer, John Romita Jr. back, Scott Hanna on inks. There you go. And our hero, Norman Osborn.
Well, our former hero, and something I'm going to mention about the art again, it's like, because Romita's drawing, we've all talked about how it's, maybe not quite as good, but there seems to be a lot for some. I grew up reading Spider-Man with Ross Andrew, and the amount of detail, we've talked about that too. I mean, particularly that Spider-Man Superman crossover, some of those background scenes were just incredible, but almost today's artists, they all seem rushed. There doesn't seem to be near as much detail. Maybe they are rushed.
Well, you can understand that from Amazing Spider-Man's viewpoint. Ross Andrew, there was a month between his issues. Amazing Spider-Man's published twice monthly.
Yeah, but they often use interim artists, though. I mean, the same guy hasn't drawn. But anyway, that just was a point I was making, because that picture of Norman, I think, encapsulated perfectly, because we know how J.R. Jr. has drawn Norman in the past, But anyway, starting off the issue, the story opens with Peter Parker playing with his web shooters and filling his backpack, which he apparently includes, I'm assuming, a Nintendo Switch, where he is
Nintendo Switch 2.
Huh?
Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh,
I don't think Peter Parker's that rich to get a new one. I don't think he's dropping 500.
Well, whatever he's got, maybe he used his first paycheck, or maybe he used Norman's when Norman gave him a going away bonus when he left Oscorp. Maybe that's what he used it for. But anyway, so he's playing a game called Journey into Mystery. Wink, wink. And when he interrupts essentially what is a group of generic terrorists who kidnapped a senator or politician and his staff. So anyway, we have a quick and easy, Spidey saving the day, boom, boom, before we get on to the story. All right. Well,
here, look at the double page, the splash page though, JR. I just think that's a great looking Spidey. Not so much, JR.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's like it's it's fine. It's like that when I say when he gets to drawing people, and remember the lopsided thug of one issue and during Gang War, and I think he was the one who drew Black Cat, that issue where it looked like her nose looked like an electrical outlet. But anyway,
your nose looks like an electrical outlet.
No, we talked about that.
Let me plug in a tissue.
It was like the snow issue where he and Felicia were vacationing at a resort with Mary Jane and Paul, and it just kind of the way.
Oh,
yeah, I think I remember
that was the Dodsons. Weren't those the Dodsons? That wasn't Romita.
Who knows?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
All right.
Dodson.
Anyway, let's check in on Mom.
All right. So Peter is his new place of employment, which seems to be a fixture of reboots. Always a new place of employment. Rand Industries, and his current boss, Dr. My Name has to be a shout out to someone, because who goes around being addressed by a hyphenated name comes to him with a proposal, which obviously I think is a hint. We got some hints of foreshadowing of some future plot points, because there's some unspecified problems she's having. She may have to step aside temporarily and leave Peter in charge of the division. Oh, wow. So anyway, of course, Peter, knowing how unreliable he can be in terms of in matters of attendance, and he is of course called out by a Dr. Hyphenated Name. He says, and then says, "Hey, there's my recently resurfaced buddy, never before mentioned in more than 60 years of continuity. Why don't you pick him? Why would you have me over him running things?" And then of course
he's literally on shrooms.
Yeah, he's role playing as a cordyceps fungus.
Yeah.
Cordyceps fungus victim, and which is from Last of Us, which killed the only character I think people liked and killed him in a brutal way. Yes, I know it was the game, but anyway. So
this is the second book from Marvel that I
You're
read
not alone in that
where the
opinion,
plot involves shrooms. Daredevil is fighting a villain
Mhm.
that's just like off The Last of Us, another shroom-related villain.
Mhm.
Somebody is watching The Last of Us a lot.
yeah, and then they'll probably,
yeah.
probably what they'll do is they'll all get together and form a new supervillain group called the Fungus Foes. So,
The fun.
and it'll be
That
a
actually
miniseries.
pretty good.
The
I hear
Fungus
they're going to be
Foes of
fun guys.
Spider-Man.
No.
Oh, and
No,
of course,
he couldn't. Wow, that one.
Oh.
I knocked him out with that one. All
But
right.
seriously
Well,
though,
anyway.
the fungus foes actually would sound like a perfect supervillain group, right? So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Miniseries.
Anyway.
Sarah's face palming. What I miss?
You are the problem, Brad. I'm face palming at you.
Good God! I leave for 33 seconds and you're already face palming. The
Yeah,
Fungus
the fun guy
Foes is
comment.
really good. I want to see them in a comic now.
Right,
There's
yeah.
a fungus among us. Put shrooms in everything. Last of Us is popular.
Whoever the guy was,
They aren't even
whoever in the chat
microdosing
was
the fungus, says Mom.
By the way, whoever's eating pizza in the chat, is there mushrooms on that pizza?
That's
I think that was Ryan, and I think he left.
yeah. Ryan is eating pizza. wasn't he?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He was eating pizza. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if it's
All right.
mushrooms on that pizza, well.
All right. Speaking
Anyway.
of, let's go get some pop. Let's get what the hell? God
There
dang.
you go.
Anyway, that's typical though of Marvel. Something becomes popular and you'll just see it everywhere. So
There you go. Speaking of pasta, let's go get something at the NYC
all right, the
pasta.
the
food
scene
truck.
shifts outside the building where Peter and his new buddy Brian are patronizing one of the 23,000 street vendors in New
Look
York
at Peter's
City.
face. Look at Peter's face.
What?
What the hell?
That looks like an MS Paint. Like someone like Ramita just use MS Paint and just painted the eyeball on there. Like, look at it. Just looks. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just like,
that was kind of rough.
yeah.
So anyway, where Brian in his usual nonstop yakking fashion alludes that he fully expects to run the division if Dr. Hyphenated Name steps aside. So indicating not only his complete ignorance of the situation and ability to read the room, but also the fact that he just blatantly dropped an all too obvious foreshadowing of future conflict between him and Peter. So, so now we've got two foreshadowed events. Okay.
Dope.
Count them, take a shot every time because we got more of them coming. Suddenly a limo pulls up and the window mysteriously slides down to reveal not a pedophile offering an innocent child a ride home or a piece of candy or an offer to see a new puppy, but the current kingpin of crime in New York, Tombstone, which we know he's the kingpin. There goes Brad again. Anyway, we're just going to go through here, which we know that Tombstone is the kingpin of all crime because during gang war, each issue wasted a page showing the territory of all the gangs and how Tombstone's got larger all the time. So, we pretty well got the idea that he's in charge of all the crime in New York. Well, anyway, Tombstone, wants Spider-Man to take down some new player who's about to make trouble in the city. And because he doesn't want to get his hands dirty in that, of course, so he knows to, give this bit of news to, Spider-Man's friend, Peter Parker, and that Peter will give the message to Spider-Man. And then Brian says, dude, are you down with the mob? Epic, which could actually, if they handle this right, actually might be an interesting thing if Brian thinks that Peter is mobbed up a little bit. That might add a little, but that probably won't be touched upon. So anyway, so now, Spidey is in surveillance mode here, literally hanging out at the Upper West Side, playing his Journey into Mystery video game while he's, doing his stakeout. And Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat, drops in unexpectedly and forces him to make a change in his underwear. But also, she lets us know that she is aware of whatever situation he is monitoring, and lets him know full well that she knows what's going on, and that it involves a quote unsavory individual moving illicit tectonite. So Felicia moves the plot along a little bit by a little bit of brief exposition, and of course she has her own unsavory interest in it. And then she decides to ask, how's the nurse, which of course prompts a flashback to what seems to be, there he goes again, what seems to be a recurring needless cameo by the girlfriend that no Spider-Man fan asked for, Shay, who declines Peter's invitation for trivia night because she has a date, but not with Peter, who is, of course, taken aback by this revelation until Shay lets him know that theirs is not an exclusive relationship. And it's not just her that's playing around, it's him that's playing around, because apparently it must be hot in summer in New York, because apparently Felicia has been shedding on Peter. So, because she lets him know that, you got the hair from this other girl, So anyway, so Felicia's shedding. So Peter fesses up that, yeah, he's also seeing someone else. And Shay's pointless cameo ends. And as she walks off down the subway, Peter says, Shay, come back, Shay. Which Mike gets it. Okay. Mike.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, the next page snaps us back to the present with Spidey and the Black Cat, where Felicia propositions Spidey to play a little canasta. Because, I don't want to say anymore because, we have a young audience amongst us, younger.
Now you self-edit? What the hell?
Yeah,
Good God, only took you 20 years.
They may not be old enough to understand what Felicia is proposing here until they go talk to their mom about it, So anyway, and Sarah, your mom's here, so you can go ahead and ask.
She says you want to fool around. And he goes, yeah. Next panel. You're not turning her down. Look at her.
Right. Well, I don't think anything happens, as we'll find out after our scene at Aunt May's Grift, the feast, where Mary
and
Jane
then she propositions JR. Aunt May says you want to fool around at JR.
I was about to say I'm getting closer.
Hey, you want to bag and board it and put it in the long box?
No, pretty soon we're going to be. I'm going to move in and we're going to share Social Security checks. Anyway, so we're at the feast. Boy, Brad laughed himself out of the picture again. We're at the feast, where Mary Jane says, really, you should date Carly because she knows where it's at. Oh, wait a minute. That was a flashback I was having. I'm sorry. I was having another flashback. This time is actually Aunt May saying, oh, you should really see Shay more because she knows where it's really at. And she's got a good head on her shoulders and she won't put up with any of her crap. Again, if my mother had, no, forget it. We've had this conversation. Anyway, Peter says, I'm just incapable of having a stable relationship. And Aunt May drops another plot foreshadowing. At least Peter has time to fix things. So there's another number 3 foreshadowing event. All right. Well, anyway, there's a knock at the door, and it looks like Aunt May's latest boy toy. Ricardo is coming in. He drove in via his car that had rich Corinthian leather, and he's bringing in food for himself and May. And Ricardo is going to be one in a long line of men, including doctors and Hell on Wheels, Nathan Lubinsky, who decides to denigrate Peter by talking about what a scumbag he is and how he treats his aunt like crap. I've seen this.
How long do you give this guy?
I don't know.
Every Aunt May boyfriend dies.
Yeah. Aunt May got
everyone. Yeah.
Nathan
She's a Black Widow before the Black Widow.
Yeah. Nathan Levinsky got killed, died.
John
Sr.
Jameson
got killed.
Uncle
Yeah.
Ben, the
Ben.
gangster.
That's they ought to
she
look at her.
she kills her mates. I mean, my God.
Yeah, they need to do a Forensic Files episode on her. I mean, looking back at all the,
Once you go May, you never go hey.
Oh, God. I just heard some kind of high pitch. Did I? That sounded like my hearing aid backfired. Anyway, had some feedback on it. Anyway, back to the main plot where Spidey and the Black Cat now are staking out where this illicit gathering that they've been waiting for to happen. And apparently, I guess nothing really did happen with the Canasta game. They got interrupted.
I disagree. He's putting his web shooters back on. I thought he was, he's getting.
No.
Well, he said that if you read the previous dialogue, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. What'd you say?
Right, but also the previous word balloon says that just when they're about to do something, then they pull up, because it basically says, I was actually going to be, because they were saying in the previous panel they were about to, I was about to take you up on that offer when all of a sudden they pulled up, so they didn't quite fool around just yet, Brad. So
yeah, and you say he pulled out his web shooter. No, if they had done something, he would have been putting away his web shooter. But anyway, all right. So Anyway, they show up in the Queens. There he went. Just knocked him out again. Anyway, the bad guys show up in the Queens Cola truck. Who, as Spidey reminds us, if they're in a Queens Cola truck, they are in the employ of Roderick Kingsley, the Hobgoblin. Which takes us to another flashback where our former hero, Norman Osborn, who, as you know, is our former hero because our current hero is, of course, Paul. Norman's having a meeting of his, and Brad's going to reboot. Don't stress too hard there, Brad. But anyway, which takes us to another blah, 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 blah. Anyway, he is meeting with his crack team of forensic accountants and lawyers because he's telling them to dig up as much dirt as they can on Kingsley so they can put that scumbag right away, put him away where he belongs. In a cell next to Norman where Norman actually belongs. But anyway, that's beside the point. Oh, well. Anyway, it so happens that after Norman retreats to his office, Spider-Man is there to remind us of two more ongoing plot points. One, that Norman is trying to repay the debts he feels he owes to society and to individual people, which in the case of Kingsley, he feels responsible because Kingsley became the Hobgoblin because of Georgie the Thug's discovery of a Hobgoblin lair way back in Amazing Spider-Man number 238. Natch. Enough said. Excelsior. And back in the days when Marvel had nice little captions. Anyway, and we know more forthcoming that one of Norman's possible methods of paying back what he feels he owes may be a dubious resurrection of a long dead character. Oh boy, we hope not. But anyway, and plot point number 2 is that someone tried to kill Norman earlier, and we don't know who or why yet. All right, so now we're back at the present. Spidey and the Black Cat are about to spring into the action where they are greeted by boring-ass, overpowered supervillain Hellgate, which we are introduced to in the first issue of this latest reboot. No more interested in him now than I was when he first showed up. And we know by the promotional material that he's already going to beat Spider-Man to within an inch of his life. He's going to beat Spider-Man worse than he has ever been beaten before. It said so in the promotional material. So he's going to hit him harder than Moreland hit him, which apparently Moreland must have hit him harder than when the Thing knocked him unconscious in Marvel Team Up number 100, but again, I guess that wasn't hard. The Thing wasn't hard enough. But anyway, so this is going to force our hero to do something ridiculous, like he's going to try to power up, and he's going to say, you know what, it worked for Superman, so maybe I'll be Spider-Man green and Spider-Man yellow, or something like that. So, but that is a story for another time to be continued.
Okay.
Brad is still not with us. So I give this issue, I give it a C plus. So anyway, grades around. Christina, you're in my upper
Okay.
left-hand corner. So what's your grade?
I gave it a C.
All right, Sarah, you're right below Christina in the window. What grade do you give it?
I also gave it a C.
Oh, hey. And Mike, what do you give it?
As predictable as always, it's also going to be a C as well. So C's all around.
Everybody agrees it's on the mutual mediocrity of this particular issue.
Wow, you already got it. You leapt right into the cons already. So,
yeah,
is there any pros at all?
Let's go with the pros, and we'll start this time with Mike. Who is in the square below me on Hollywood Squares. Mike, what are some of your pros?
Oh, that's kind of hard pressed at this point. I think in terms of setting up future plot points, I think it's did what it's supposed to do, because yes, you're right. It's a lot of these things were just hinting at upcoming storylines, like, oh, there's corporate intrigue going on potentially at Rand Industries. Oh, there's stuff going on with, Shay. Oh, there's stuff going on with Black Cat. But then of course, knowing that Spider-Man is going to be split off into space and everything like this, is it kind of going to undermine a lot of these plot points? I don't know, but at this point, I'd say it's serviceable in terms of basically setting things up. And the other thing too is it clearly was one of these stories where, oh, look, everything is going right for Peter Parker. Life is great and all this other stuff until, oh, here comes Hellgate to ruin everything. And so I think, that's basically what this issue was doing. So it's serviceable in what it's doing. So that's pretty much it. So, yeah.
Have we done grades yet, by the way?
Yes, we have.
Yep.
We did that.
Okay.
Sarah, what are your pros?
Hey, you did pretty good, JR. I like you.
I honestly don't have anything that Mike didn't mention. I didn't really like this issue that much. I felt like it was nothing really happened. We got caught up in a few things, but the most exciting part to me was the last page. So that.
Yeah.
I think I'm the opposite. I think the last page was I could care less about this Ares 2.0. I just like the interaction with Norman and Felicia. But I don't know. What is my grade? I probably a B minus, also B, possibly. What was the rest of the grade?
C. Everyone was C.
Yeah.
Yeah. He lost it again.
Everybody gave it a C. Christina, what are your pros? We'll keep this moving along.
But I don't really have anything that hasn't been said. I did like him saving that senator and beating up the guys that seem like classic Spidey heroics to me. So.
All right.
Okay.
Obviously, this is a StreamYard. This is a StreamYard problem. So I don't know why it's don't put your air quotes. Get out of here with that. Anyway, I'll watch the show later and figure out what the hell y'all thought about the grades.
Okay.
All right. Where are we? Help me.
We're at cons. We're at the cons right
cons.
now.
Okay, JR, what are your cons?
It's not like I think everyone pretty well summed it. I mean, it's just a mediocre issue. It's a setup. Nothing is, particularly exciting. I mean, in a way, it harkens back to good old Spider-Man, where you had all these little mysteries going on in the background, but back in the old days, you knew they were going to get resolved satisfactorily. Here, you don't quite know if they're going to pay off. So we're certainly not at 8 Deaths of Spider-Man mediocrity, but it's just very average.
Okay, other cons. Who's got them?
I got one.
All right,
and that one is Shay. Because I mean, the whole thing with this. Okay, so I understand what Joe Kelly was trying to do with this scene. He's trying to show oh, look, Shay is a modern, independent, forward-thinking woman that D. Peter is dating with and everything, and how their relationship is now mature and adult. But anyone reading this was thinking, so wait a minute. So she's dating some other dude. She's dating other guys, and she expects Peter to do the same, and then she's okay with Peter dating other people because she's doing it. So it's like,
Now,
why even
now-
bother? Why bother
no,
with this relationship? It's
This actually made me like Shay. This made me like Shay
Oh,
because
really?
she has been crapped on by Peter Parker so many times. She should
Sure,
show
yeah.
him that, you know what? I'm not waiting around for this guy who's very flaky. Like I'm looking for somebody, and you have potential, but you know what? You're not the only fish in the sea. You're not the only
She's a
spider in the
strong,
web.
independent woman that don't need no man.
Don't need
and
no
no,
man.
here's-
Exactly.
And here's the thing. That's a very valid interpretation, because I mean, I'm sure, Sarah, you're going to be this thing, because the thing is, yeah, she's basically in the real world. If somebody did this did this, it's like, this is a hint that, hey, you're kind of screwing up here. You're not that special. I got other people lined up. So if you're serious about a relationship, you better step up your game. But the way this is written, it makes it seem like, oh, everything's fine with Peter and Shay. Because, hey, why is he complaining? He gets to be with Black Cat, which honestly, Nick, I think Joe Kelly's more interested in writing Spider-Man Black Cat than he is writing about Peter and Shay anyway. So that kind of comes across. So I just kind of thought with the whole Shay scene, it just felt like, well, then what's the point of you then? It's just like, you just kind of completely lowered the stakes of their whole relationship. If she's like, oh, well, if I'm going to go see off other people and I'm okay with you seeing other people, then what's the point? Then why bother? But I totally get Brad. And also Sarah's point is like, yeah, if he comes back and says, hey, Peter, the reason why I'm saying this to you is because I wanted you to step up and actually get serious here, and you're kind of been flaking out and lying to me all the time, that'd be fine. But it's like, but I guess to me, it's just the way it came across. It just felt like Kelly was trying to make it like, oh, life is good for Peter with the whole thing. But
no, I think it was showing that Shay is not putting up with some bullshit. I like that in the character,
which
as opposed to, and you know what? I don't know. I don't know what it says about how much I love Mary Jane putting up with the bullshit. But you know what? She does it because she knows the uncle and she knows the past and the history.
Right.
And she's been there since Amazing Fantasy 15. So she loves them and understands them. She is coming into this blind. She can't see the other alter ego. So I totally get Shay from that.
Right.
JR, you look confused.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there is the early onset dementia that I'm dealing with. But well, I don't know if I have anything, new more to say. It's just, I don't think we like Shay enough to give her that benefit of the doubt, because, with Mary Jane, we knew Mary Jane, we'd been, and we liked Mary Jane. And so when Mary Jane had enough, you've had enough, you go, girl. But
I don't think JR just said you go, girl. That's awesome.
Hey, I am hip. Okay. I'm the hippest one here. And speaking of hips,
Jesus.
mine's getting.
They don't lie. You don't lie.
Anyway, but no, we like Mary Jane. We'd had a history with Mary Jane. Shay's not a character. Shay hasn't been developed as a character. We don't like her.
They're trying.
Well, it's like Dumper and date Felicia.
Well, that's what I mean too. It's like, because the way this comes across, I mean, I think, Vlad, your point is perfectly valid about Shay's character, but the way Kelly writes this scene, it makes it, and the way it's presented, it feels like, oh, Peter and Shay have a great relationship because she's free to see other people, he's free to see other people, and neither of them mind. But it's like, oh, but in the contract, but by doing that and then putting Black Cat in the issue, all it's doing is making the reader go, why bother with Shay? You can just be with Black Cat. It's like, that's clearly what he'd rather, So it just, to me, it just made Shay seem like more of a pointless character by portraying her, by doing this, making this development here. So, but then again, not many people really cared about Shay anyway. So what? So who cares? Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
but
you not
they're
like the
da-
line
yeah, but
about
they're-
the wrap it before you web it, or what was the line? Whap it. I thought that was kind of
Okay.
funny.
Well, was Sarah, you were saying something?
I was just gonna say, but yeah, they're dating. Like, you know, a lot of people don't date exclusively like that. So
True.
I think that
Yeah.
that would make sense.
Oh yeah, true.
I mean,
it's just
As Peter,
Yeah.
but
yeah. Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. But from a storytelling stand, from a story, I mean, yeah, you're right. In terms of like in the dating world, I mean, basically, like, yeah, this is like, you know, there's no exclusivity thing because she said ground rules, but at the same time, it's like but to me, from a storytelling standpoint, it's like, oh, you really to me, it just kind of seems like it lowered the stakes so that if something does happen to Peter, it's like, oh, well, at least I got this other whoever she's supposedly dating else. So it's like, it comes across as no big loss, really.
What happened
If
happened if Shay is dating her Peter's childhood friend? The
Oh my
mushroom
that
man.
would be, I'm kind of thinking that could be the case.
The mushroom man.
I'm thinking that could actually, I can
Here
easily see that
comes the
happening.
mushroom man. No, that's
Because
the
that
muffin
would
man. Sorry.
because then that would make, because I could easily see Kelly going that route, because then that brings in the whole like, oh, they're best friend, childhood friends, but oh, he's also gunning for the position the same position that mom promised Peter, and if he's also dating Shay, like, oh no, conflict. I can kind of see that happening. So I'm sure that would be the most obvious route to go down. Like, she's like, you know, yeah.
All right. Chat. I know I've been in and out, not the burger, but let me see your grades. We'll read some comments before we wrap this show up. So we will go through that in just a second. Who haven't we heard from on cons?
Christina,
what's a con for you? Okay, go ahead.
It's what we said before, that this story didn't really do anything other than having Hellgate at the end. So,
and I think Sarah's the only one interested in Hellgate. Is that right?
I mean, just because that was the only interesting thing that happened in the book.
yeah.
Like, am I really?
Okay.
No, but like, I mean, the last panel was just like, okay, so something else is happening. But I understand that there are some books that need to be like, set up for others. Like, I totally get that, and that's not bad in any way, shape, or form. But we got caught up on a little bit of things with a couple different characters like Shay and Black Cat, and I mean, other than that, it wasn't that interesting to me. It's not a book I would go read again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's obviously a chapter 1 of a trade, is what it is. Honestly,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a $5 chapter 1, is what it is.
Yeah.
And Christina, did we hear from you? What's the con out of you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
What I just said about it being nothing happened. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see.
Did we discuss the art? Did we say that? Since
No.
We started after the summary.
Yeah.
No.
All right. So that grumpy old guy, aka Walter, says my major con is JR art.
Yeah, he kind of phones it in here, and I think that's kind of been the thing with JR Jr. doing this. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like, now, granted, he's still the John Romita Jr. is doing his own comics. I forgot but there's something he's working on, like another that's outside of Marvel.
He's got a Mark Miller Patreon or a GoFundMe,
right? And which does look really good. So you can tell
that's
that's
phoning it in, Mike. I don't think that's phoning it in.
Not this. Well, this is the one exception, but there's a lot. But those other things, examples like with the faces, like the eyeball stuff and everything, and in some cases, sometimes with the proportion wise, I mean, a lot of this, I mean, mainly feels like it's phony because there's not a lot happening on the page either, because a lot of it is conversational scenes, and
that's not the best, Peter.
No, and say what you will about John Romita Jr., whenever you get to these conversational things, it feels off. So, I mean,
I don't know about that. You think the Spider-Man Black Cat conversation's off? I like it.
Okay, well,
It's
one,
subjective.
that's a super long straw. I've realized that for a second there. It's like, that thing's like it's so that means like good grief. That's because it looks like that. Okay, and yeah, that one there.
Anyway,
so I mean, yeah,
we've said this. Art's subjective, and I
sure,
have
yeah,
I have Ramita Junior bias.
Yeah.
Jr. You also, but not as much as I do. I think.
Probably.
Yeah, but I still love his stuff. But
I do too. I just think the difference between the last book and this book was just very jarring,
yeah.
like we've said.
Oh, I
yes,
agree
very
100%.
much so. Yeah,
I agree.
Mhm.
They're not complementary artists. There was an artist. It was before 8 Deaths that looked very much like Ramita. I can't remember what the artist's name was, but it was it was like, what if Ramita and Ringo had a kid?
oh,
Michael Ringo, who passed away. His stuff was really good. But anyway, it'd be nice. But I think they're just happy to have an artist that'll sign up to do this book.
Well, the other thing too is like that thing with the 2 Spider-Mans in one issue when it happens in 975. So I think Ramita is going to be limited to doing the Spider-Man stuck on Earth stuff, and then Pepe
That's where
Larraz
he
is doing the
excels.
Spider-Man. Yeah, and then Spider-Man's going to do, and then the Spider-Man space stuff was be drawn by Pepe Larraz. So, and since if if I'm thinking right, if they're going to be alternating back and forth like every 2 weeks, like every
that makes sense.
twice a month,
to have something.
then
different.
then I think it will have that consistency, a little bit of that consistency, so you know exactly, okay, the space stuff drawn by Pepe Larraz, the street level stuff drawn by Ramita. So,
But like, why?
Yeah.
Like,
Because,
why are we doing this? I just don't understand.
Because they're out.
Because
we
we
have,
have-
we have to
fe-
I thought you guys were making shit up earlier this
No.
episode.
would we ever do that? No, come on,
Yes,
Sarah.
yes, you would.
Yeah, we
100%.
would, but not. But no, they're doing that because they have to feed the beast. The show
Right.
must go on twice a month, and splitting them up so you have 2 different characters to write instead of one's much easier.
Yeah,
So,
but-
because
I
you were
would
looking, I
think.
take it you were looking
We'll
that stuff
see.
up. Yeah. So just now, yeah, it's
yeah, I'm
I
literally
have-
like,
I have the press release somewhere. Yeah, I just didn't put it on the front page, but it's happening. All right, we got grades from Carrick as a B+ on this one. That Walter gives it a C. Jeff gives it a C. Trayvon gives it an A+. All right, man.
okay.
Mr. Comic. Whoa, Mr. Comics, what you down so low for? Usually an A man. Wow.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay.
And well,
yeah,
the
I'm surprised
reviews
at
killed
that,
it.
Mr. Comics.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's just I think it's because I think again because you're part of it. I wonder is too is because you've coming off the opening arc with Pepe Larraz and then you go down to this and it's like feels very jarring too, and so it's like and it's a thing, but but anywho,
All right. We ready to wrap this thing up?
I guess so.
Before we go, I want to tell you about what's coming up at 8:30 if I can stay on the line long enough. Let's see. We're going to do Patreon. And here is what we're going to review on Patreon. And JR, let me know if you're reading any of this. We got Ultimate Spider-Man number 17 and 18, and then Miles Morales goes to the Ultimate Universe with Incursion number 1. And then we have Giant Size Spider-Man with a story written by
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith,
Is
where
one of-
Spider-Man gets
Al,
his costume
Al Ewing
ripped in the butt. And when I shared this on Instagram, I put "Baby
And
Got
you also
Back"
got Al
on the Al Ewing, yes. And we also have the all-new Venom, aka the all-new Mary Jane Venom. And then we've got a double header of Eddie Brock Carnage, which is kind of a sleeper, Sarah. It's not a bad book. I read
No,
the last
I liked
3.
it.
I
liked it a lot. It's really, really good. JR, no, you didn't want to see the Sinister 69 written by Kevin Smith? Pay $8 for it?
Yeah, well, I'll wait till he finishes the story in about another 3 years.
I know, right? Yeah, you can tell Kevin Smith wrote it because there are sex jokes, ass jokes,
hockey. There's a
throughout.
hockey joke in there.
Hockey
There's a
joke.
in
I
there.
mean, he has
Both
his
in there,
tropes.
yeah.
So
I cannot
yeah.
wait for this Patreon show about giant
Oh.
size. I am so excited.
Uh-oh.
giant. And there's no
There we
man thing.
go.
It's just
All
giant
right.
size Spider-Man coming up next on Patreon. If you haven't signed up, patreon.com/crawlspace. And you can see us review all. Well, we're going to gain some members too. We're going to gain Kelly and Neil. We'll lose JR. We'll have a wake. And all right, let's do final thoughts. Mike, final thoughts, sir.
Well, I think the first arc was somewhat decent. This one coming in with all going Hellgate, and especially with what we're thinking is going to happen in a couple issues, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting how Kelly's going to pull this off to set up his Spider-Man split in two thing, because happens with Hellgate. I'm curious, as I would be
All right.
watching a car wreck, but that's kind of
Sarah, are you excited for the car wreck?
A little bit. That was the most interesting thing of issue 6. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next. I really like the wrap up of issue 5. Really want to see that press release that you're talking about, Brad, about this Spider-Man in space nonsense. Like, I still like, I like 70% believe you, even though you're telling me the truth, you know?
Okay. I'll put it on the crawl space later tonight. You can
send
read
her a
it.
link, Brad.
All right. I'll send her a link. Yeah. All right, Christina, final thoughts.
I just don't want to deal with magic again. I can't.
You've had enough.
Yeah.
Had enough magic, as you can't take some more.
Can't.
You're gonna get plenty of that in the Patreon episode, though. The Patreon episode's got plenty of that in the little sneak peek and what in the giant size Amazing Spider-Man. You'll see. You'll see. Yeah.
I read it, so I know.
All right, JR, your final thoughts, sir.
Well, I guess I can't wait till we have the next show to see whether or not you'll stick around for all of it.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I actually controlled that one. I did that one myself. My computer or StreamYard didn't do it on that. Now, all right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the tech problems.
All right.
We will see you next time, everybody. Thanks, everybody.